On October 7, 2022, the 70th birthday of Russian President Vladimir Putin, the next day, he received an ominous gift, the bridge of his love. The Crimea Bridge was bombed. From the picture, you can see that the fire is rising into the sky. Trucks and tankers exploded one after another. The pier was damaged, and some sections of the road were damaged and collapsed. The location of the Crimean Bridge is very important. It connects the Crimean Peninsula and the Russian mainland. With a total length of 19 kilometers, it is also the longest bridge in Russia. After the outbreak of the Russian-Ukrainian War, it became an important reserve supply base for the southern fronts such as Zaporizhia and Kherson. It cost $3.6 billion to build. It is a bridge between the railway and highway, with 4 lanes and one double-track railway, carrying a huge traffic flow, which can pass 40,000 cars and 47 pairs of trains every day. On May 15, 2018, the Crimea Bridge was just completed. Putin attended the completion ceremony and personally drove a truck across the bridge. Putin became very angry and characterized the bridge bombing as a terrorist act in Ukraine. Since October 9th, the bombing of Zaporizhia, Kiev, and other areas in Ukraine has been frantic, killing at least 13 people and injuring 90 others, including 11 children. Several tall buildings were partially destroyed, many residential buildings were razed to the ground, and many more people may have been buried under the rubble. The war has escalated again. Russia, as the world's largest nuclear-armed state, maintains that as long as the enemy uses conventional weapons to invade the territory and threaten national security, it is the time to use nuclear weapons. The bombing of the Crimea Bridge this time is equivalent to a declaration of war. The Kremlin may offer an appropriate counterattack, including the possibility of using nuclear weapons. Chechen leader Ramzan Kadyrov, a close Putin ally, has previously called for Moscow to respond to Ukraine's use of low-yield strategic nuclear weapons against Ukrainian cities. The military defeat has raised concerns about Russian President Vladimir Putin's use of tactical nuclear weapons. Nuclear weapons information website NukeMap estimated that if a 20,000-ton yield nuclear weapon, equivalent to the Nagasaki atomic bomb, exploded in central Kiev, it would cause immediate damage. More than 31,000 people were killed and 65,000 injured, which experts believe is the most conservative estimate. Radiation contamination after a nuclear explosion could affect the whole of Europe. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan has warned that Russia will encounter catastrophic consequences if it uses nuclear weapons. A nuclear attack is bound to greatly enhance the rationality of NATO's military intervention. Now all countries are paying close attention to the situation of the Russian-Ukrainian War. Do you think Putin will really use nuclear weapons? Is there any way to stop him? Please leave a message below. In the face of the threat of nuclear war, we have to think of the legend that human prehistoric civilization was wiped out by nuclear war. In 1922, archaeologists discovered the ruins of Mohenjo-Daro in India. This castle has a history of more than 5,000 years. Mohenjo-Daro is the largest civilized ancient city in the Indus Valley, located in Lara, Sindh, Pakistan. Kana County. In the local dialect, Mohenjo-Daro means hill of death. Archaeologists found that the city of Mohenjo-Daro covers an area of 8 square kilometers, and its layout is scientific and rigorous. The city was surrounded by walls, watchtowers, and ditches to prevent foreign invasion. The upper of the city where some leaders live, and the lower layers where the commoners live. The streets are evenly distributed in a checkerboard pattern. The streets are wide and flat. There are 2-story buildings with bricks anywhere. Every home has a bathroom and drainage system. It can be seen that before the destruction, everyone lived and worked in peace and contentment, and their lives were in order. It was a bustling and clean city. At the same time, during the excavation of the ancient city, many human skeletons were found. These human remains are extremely tragic. Some died on the street, some died at home, some showed a twisted and deformed posture, and some covered their faces as if they had seen something terrible. There is no doubt that judging from the state of death of these bones, they all died in panic in some sudden state. Through chemical analysis of the bones, it was found that all the bones were burnt by high temperature, and these remains still contain radioactive substances after thousands of years. Detect radiation levels comparable to those killed in Hiroshima, Japan. Investigators found evidence of multiple explosions at the site. All buildings within a 1-kilometer radius of the blast center were turned into powder. Scientists found scattered fragments in the center of the ruins, which were sintered from clay and other minerals. It has been proved by experiments that the melting temperature of the ruins at that time was as high as 2,550 to 2,750 degrees Fahrenheit. At that time, something unusual must have happened in this ancient city. Is it a volcanic eruption? But within a few thousand kilometers of this area, people have not found the crater left. Is it a sudden epidemic or a plague? It is medically proven that plagues and epidemics of all kinds cannot suddenly destroy a city. Is it the meteorite that hit the Earth and caused the big explosion, but no huge crater has been found in this area? Turning to the ancient Indian poem Mahabharata, it is recorded that there was a war between the two branches of the ancient Indian Bharata tribe. The scale of this war is unprecedented in the world. In the description of the ancient poem, there is a terrible weapon called Enia, forbidden by the gods, which is a smokeless missile. This weapon, it breathes fire, but it is smokeless and powerful. In an instant, the wind blows, the clouds churn, and the sun seems to be shaking in the air. Throwing down a large amount of dust and gravel, the earth burns and shakes. Elephants were scorched by the high temperature, other animals fell to the ground and died, the flames rolled. Trees fell in rows as if encountering a forest fire, the thick flames continued to fall in all directions like heavy rain, and thousands of chariots were destroyed. The fallen bodies were mutilated by the horrific heat, like charred tree trunks. The ancient poem also describes, the Gurkha took his flying machine Vimana and threw a projectile at the three cities of the Varishni and the Andhika, and a plume of white smoke rose from the ground, shining brightly, like 10,000 suns. This secret weapon, called Iron Thunderbolt, reduced the enemy to ashes, burned the corpse beyond recognition, lost all hair and nails, and contaminated the food. The warriors jumped into the rivers and washed their bodies and equipment. These details are almost the same as when the atomic bomb exploded in Japan in World War II. The Bible is also similar. The Bible Genesis records such a thing. Lot's family lived in the city of Sodom, and God decided to destroy the city. Before the disaster, God told the Lot family to leave Sodom quickly and kindly advised them, never look back. Lot's wife did not follow God's advice and looked back at Sodom in disaster, only to be killed by a strong light. The next day, when they looked at the city where they had lived, unexpectedly, there was smoke rising like a kiln burning. A city was destroyed in this way. What force can destroy a city overnight? What is the bright light emitted when the destruction occurs? What weapon did God use to instantly destroy these two cities? Lot's wife looked back to see why it would bring disaster. It was not until Hiroshima and Nagasaki were devastated by the atomic bombs of the United States in 1944 that when people reread this text, they suddenly realized that only the atomic bomb can destroy the entire city at once, and only the light radiation of the atomic bomb explosion can cause fatal injuries when looking at it. Only by fleeing from the planes can we avoid the hazard of the shock wave when the atomic bomb explodes. Only the explosion of the atomic bomb can form a smoke cloud that rises into the sky and can be seen from faraway places. When people decipher why ruins overnight, they are destroyed by a mysterious substance that is a nuclear explosion. In addition to India, ruins similar to prehistoric nuclear wars have been found in the ruins of ancient towers in Babylon, the Sahara Desert, and the Gobi in Mongolia. The glass stone in the ruins is the same as the trinitite at the nuclear test site today. These archaeological findings are consistent with the historical records that have been circulated. It can be seen from this, also developed a high degree of human civilization in the Indus Valley more than 5,000 years ago. It takes thousands or tens of thousands of years to create a highly advanced civilization, but only a few days, or even a day, to destroy it. What a horrible reality. So we have to speak out, oppose war, maintain world peace, and love our homeland and earth where humans live. What would we do if a nuclear war did break out? In short, hide as soon as possible. When an atomic bomb explodes, generally 48 hours later, its radiation intensity will be reduced to 1% of the original. Therefore, hiding in sealed buildings can effectively reduce exposure dose of nuclear radiation. In addition to this, the optical radiation produced by a nuclear explosion is short-lived and its thermal energy is absorbed by surface objects. Therefore, when a nuclear explosion strikes, you have no time to escape to the bomb shelter, and it is also a wise choice to hide in the basement. How to avoid shock waves. 1. Even if you are warned only a few seconds before the explosion, you have an important way to mitigate the damage of the shock wave. Get down on your face. If you are outdoors, hide by the wall of a solid building or jump into a ditch. 2. If you stay at home, immediately close the windows and never look out. The best location is by the wall in the basement. If you don't have time to go downstairs, you can lie against a wall or lie down under a bed or table. Don't face the window, or the window glass will burst and hurt your face. 3. Don't look up when you're lying down. Even in the daytime, the glow from a nuclear bomb blast can blind you for a while. Therefore, bury your head in your arms for 10 to 12 seconds after the explosion. This also prevents splashing glass from damaging your eyes. Alright, it's time to say goodbye to everyone. Please like, subscribe, and support me to make better programs. Thank you.